seems to be what the media is billing as a rift or, a battle between, please hold, a battle between whoever that is. Call on the 718-705-4959 number. So it seems to be a rift on the between the city council and the mayor. And depending on whose side you're on and depending on where you're getting your information, because there's a lot of information, there's a lot of misinformation on Facebook and be given out these days, we would like to ask you a couple of tough questions and find out what's going on. What the hell is going on in City Hall? Let's just put it that. What the hell is going on?
Oh, man. Well, all of this stuff about this big riff and this big fight, it's not a big fight. I think a lot of people are spinning this all out of proportion. I think there's a lot of misinformation given out there. I don't get a chance to really go on Facebook that much, but I hear that a lot of stuff is blowing up on Facebook. And it's not factual. It's all stuff that is, I would say, just fabricated and cleverly engineered to make their own side look like it's correct.
But when you say they, who's they?
Well, obviously, you have an executive branch and then you have a city council side, which is the legislative branch. And, the legislative branch is not out there saying a lot of these things. It's more of the executive branch and those folks.
Well, let's deal with a couple. Let's just go straight to it. So some of the things that the executive branch have said. First, there was the incident of lock changing and two councilmen in shadowy, in the dead of night, sneaking in, breaking down, cutting locks and breaking in the planning department to obtain HUD documents and all kinds of government stuff.
I got my saucer in the car right now, man. I was planning about breaking into here. I was just waiting for it to get dark enough, all this equipment around here. But this is not. I wouldn't even take the equipment because we only look for files.
Right. So no, but basically, seriously, one of the questions that was asked by the Mayor Thomas and has been repeated by several people. So the planning commissioner had got fired on Friday.
Correct.
There were some things that he was not allowed to leave with or left without, depending whose side you listen to. And you and the council president entered City Hall and retrieved his belongings. And the question is, why was it that important to do it on a Friday night that it could not wait to business hours on Monday?
Because I was already there. So that makes it simple.
Okay.
And Marcus was there. I was actually downstairs, and Marcus called me upstairs. I know Jaime had called, and the gentleman was upset. He was destroyed, about not getting his diploma and his family pictures. So what do you do? How do you remove somebody, not give them let them take their personal items and tell them to write a list and all and mail it to the mayor's office, and then we'll sort it out and we'll try to give you your private. No, you let people go with their personal things. This is not something where you have the right to take people's personal things. When did we become thugs? Basically, he said it himself when he testified, because Jaime came in and answered that subpoena, and I used that opportunity to clarify the record. And what he said was, he got his diploma, because we asked him. He got his diploma, his family pictures, and a couple of cans of soup. That was it. Nobody looked through files. Nobody touched anything. All of that stuff is all made up. And they know the truth.
Okay, I want to get into the subpoena in a second. Yep. But now I have personally talked to the former planning commissioner to get his side of it, and we wrote that in Black Westchester. And I did have a sit down with the mayor, and when I talked to him about this, he said basically that the that Martinez was afforded the opportunity to take his stuff, but decided to leave and take inventory and come back Monday. Basically, that was something along the lines that he said, which the planning commissioner, who I talked to 2 days ago, said that is not true. So, but I mean, we have to, for all sides of it, we have to tell what the mayor's side was, though.
Well, let me ask you this question: if he decide that, he wouldn't call on the phone, upset and crying and upset about getting his personal things. That it doesn't make any sense. This is the thing that we have. We have too many stories going on, and I love to spit on Channel 2 news. Because the mayor was walking around with the lock and chain cut from Memorial Field, like if the planning department was doors were chained and locked shut, and that we cut that lock. It was dramatized. It looked very, very much political and staged and all, and it's not true. All of this stuff is nothing more than political propaganda. And for him to say this is Watergate, come on, man, come on. And what files will we be looking for anyway? If there was any file, see, this is the thing that people have to understand. Let me just say this: City Council, okay. Our duty, we chair over the building, and basically even with the files, anything that we wanted, all we have to do is ask for it, because we have that ability to ask for it, and there is no documents in the building that, first of all, is confidential and whatever he said, high class, whatever the word was and stuff. It's a public building. All documents is public. Anything that's in that planning department, somebody off the street could walk in and foil, and they'll have to give it to them. So it's not any secret confidential documents with checks that was hidden there that we were looking for. It's crazy.
The other thing that Mayor Richard Thomas said in the interview and sit down with me was that, okay, so you also served the city a lawsuit. You also suing the city. So so after serving the papers to the city, that's when you decided to go into right after that is when you went into this planning office, and he does not know, since you were in there unauthorized and I don't know, chaperoned is the wrong word, but with nobody watching you, you could have been going to get documents that were needed for your lawsuit. So and nobody could have stopped you. You could have just been rummaging through file cabinets and stuff like that.
First of all, it wasn't unauthorized. When I went up there, I was called up by, Council President Griffin, who was upstairs, who was up there with the maintenance guy or the night shift guy, whoever that guy, the guy is, Mike or whatever his name is, and he was up there with the president of the council. So I guess he let him in because I didn't break in there. He didn't break in there. The door was opened up for Marcus, so he did not break into a place. So I don't know where that came from.
Okay, so the next thing was, again, the reason I wanted to do this, and I'm trying to bring his side of it. I was trying to pull up the video from the interview. I'm going to try to pull that up in a minute. Well, let's move on to the subpoenas. So now we since you brought the subpoenas.
Hold on, let me just tell you.
Okay.
The lawsuit that he's referring to.
Oh yeah, let's there you go.
Is another bogus thing.
Your lawsuit is bogus, or
no? It's a bogus thing that he's saying. It's his conversation. The reason why the lawsuit was filed was the city. Everybody knows this. Everybody in the city knows, because I put it on the record before I became councilman. I went to the city council. I explained that I did the EOC center, that the money was owed to me, and the city ran out of money. They put it in this year's budget. Even the former mayor in his speech mentioned it. Everybody knows
in his
about
farewell,
it.
His farewell address.
Well,
yes.
When the mayor was on the council, he voted for it. He voted for that. That money, he passed it. He even, when I made those comments, he made a comment saying that he's got to make sure that I get my money because the city's running bad and it's doing this and it's not paying contractors like Andre Wallace and all. So he knows this money was there. But when it came time for us to basically for him to sign off, because it was not signed off, he was in office now. He has to sign off on it. Maureen was waiting for it. Everybody was waiting for it. He refused to sign off on it. So I asked him why, and he was more or less trying to put me in a position to pass his agenda. So that didn't happen, period. So I told him, I said, look, I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're going to go to court. So I filed the papers, and it was a phone call for me. Called my attorney, and we filed the paper. I didn't want to sue the city. This money's been owed to me since 2014. So it's not something that's new.
Well, one of the things bringing it back to that, he also said in the interview that he doesn't understand why you went the route of suing the city when y'all had a sit down, and George Brown was also in the sit down, and he got an outside counsel and said to you, let our lawyers deal with it, so it's not personal between me and you, and we take ourselves out and let the lawyers hash it out, and then after you agreeing to that, you then serve the papers. Like
first of all, let's get the story straight, okay? There was no reason to have lawyers involved, and I said that before, because this is money that's owed. I did the work, okay? You're supposed to be paid. Everybody knows that. He knew that, okay? Him initialing the paper and stuff is nothing to do with lawyers, nothing to do with this, nothing to do with that. It all had to do with I refused to push through his $700,000 budget, and this is a retaliation. And we had that discussion. So now he's trying to clean it up. It's not come on. I'm telling you as, what it is. Now, let me ask you a question. He said he had to investigate it because it's all questionable. But you had the Homeland Security sign off on it. You had the building commissioner sign off on it. You had Maureen and them pretty much look at the paperwork to have it proved. You had every last person sign off on this document. Now it goes down to the mayor, and he tells me that he doesn't trust all of the people, including the architect and the architectural firm that signed off on it. So come on, this is political games. That's all it is. So, he can say what he wants, but it's not true.
Okay. So I'm trying to pull up this video real quick. So now, talking about the work being done. So now I want to go back to the first real riff, I guess, that the press jumped on between the council and the mayor. Now, I was present during a Tuesday work session meeting that y'all usually have a work session meeting the day before a city council meeting, the day before. And usually, y'all talk, but sometimes y'all allow other people to talk. Kenneth Chamberlain came and spoke, and Damon on the CCRB. A couple other people talked, and then the mayor was afforded the opportunity, I guess, to share his vision or where he felt that monies could be moved for both additional firefighters and for a chief of staff position of $135,000,
and for knocking down some houses.
Well, right. But most, and then what? Now, as an eyewitness, I was there. What I did witness was him asking for some money to come from something called a contingency fund.
Correct.
Where the controller then explained, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I have no way of knowing, that this contingency fund is money that is there kind of like as a backup for like when the police and fire unions negotiate raises and stuff. So it's like money put to the side. And and she said if you were to take that money, we couldn't negotiate in fair, we couldn't negotiate, because we didn't have the money. So then a couple of other comments were made from the council. I think Councilwoman Copeland said, listen, be clear, we would love to hire 20 firefighters, but there's just no money in the budget. I think Councilman Edwards said, listen, you have 6, the 5 or 6, whatever it was, take that now, and let's go back to the budget next year and see what we can do for you. But he wanted an additional 5. So as this went back and forth, and this was explained, at least to my satisfaction, on why it couldn't be done, 3 days later there was a press conference of the firefighters where I heard him say, basically he told the press and the public that basically the council and the controller are playing politics with your safety. They have this money set aside, but they refused to release it and move it over so we can hire more firefighters, putting y'all in danger. And then I guess someone took a shot at you. There's also money in the budget for $190,000 for a contractor who we're not even sure if he did the work. And we want to look into that. So anyway, I wanted to give you a chance to speak about any of that situation, because this is what he said and this is what I saw. But let you speak from your vantage point.
You're correct. The firefighter situation is a little crazy and blown out of proportion. Now we all want as many firefighters as the fire department can staff, as many as is needed for the city. We want to make sure the city has everything it can possibly have.
So you're not holding up money. You're not refusing to release money. For a firefighter. Okay,
not at all.
You don't have a thing that we don't need more firefighters. Like, at least David said that we don't need firefighters.
We want more firefighters. Okay. And come September, I already pledged and vowed to put as many more firefighters through as possible. But we got to do it responsibly. That was my whole thing. And I know that contingency fund, the money set aside to negotiate the police officers and the firefighters contract. And for me, that's important. You want to get your guys comfortable. You want to get them their contract. You want to negotiate that. You want to settle that particular thing. And to say that it's not important to settle the contract, that can wait because I want the money for firefighters was ridiculous. And I made that statement in there because remember what was said. And a lot of people they hear what the mayor goes out there and say at his press conference, but these sessions are taped. You can actually foil the copy of the tape and you can hear what we're talking about, because it's not a secret. So as we're speaking about that, and you heard it, AJ, and we had some actions between him and myself, because I used the word ass betting. Remember? Right. And I said, we're not going to go out here and ass bet, as far as taking money out of there and then try to negotiate with the police and firefighters. And what if they say, okay, we agree? Then we're caught out there because we don't have the money to pay them. You just don't do stuff like that. And, the comment was made, okay, well, maybe we can take out a bond. And wait a second. And the comment was, we went back and forth and we said, no, we're not going to bond this either because that's the taxpayers' dollars. It doesn't make sense. And you got to pay that back.
I want to go into a portion of his interview. I'm not sure if this is the exact link that I'm looking for. There was, because I broke it up into 4 pieces, but it's a 2-minute piece. We're going to go into that real quick. In all the interviews, you refer to the councilmen as intruders or trespassers.
Yeah, City Hall was closed. Typically, City Hall is closed at 4:30 every day, and for people to be in the
can't hear nothing
in the darkness is a pretty shadowy dealing to be in a closed area in which they have no business being there after City Hall is closed. So that is definitely an issue that
still can't hear nothing.
Remains under scrutiny investigation. But I can tell you right now that it's not common to find council members lurking around an office.
Now,
when City Hall is closed.
Now I know you have a relationship with Marcus. You're both council members together for a 2-year period, I guess, right? And you campaigned somewhat with Andre. Do you actually believe it is your position that they came here?
Yo, you can't hear it.
Underhanded. Okay, well, you're gonna have to watch it. I can't do nothing about it.
Documents or
it's playing here. Something underhanded. I guess the best way.
At the end of the day, they interfered with an off-boarding process. There is a process of inventory, doing an inventory of all the items that was in the office, and frankly.
Yeah, but the people can't hear it. If I can't hear it, I know the people can't hear it.
Okay, they're going to have to watch it on the review.
Definitely inhibited that process. So, there are a lot of questions that remain to be answered, and at the end of the day, they had no right being where they were in the first place.
All right, we're going.
They had no right to move.
No, dude, don't play another video that can't hear like that. We're sitting here.
We're going back. We're going back. Okay, Damon, calm down. So anyway,
no, I'm just saying.
Okay. Calm down.
I'm just saying, my brother.
Okay.
Back live on air.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, yo. So.
Roll them.
I took the video off. So, Dave, I apologize for anybody on the air who could not hear or is watching this, and you can catch that part on the preview, on the review, the archive tonight when it airs. Now, go ahead, Andre. So we were going into. So I was trying to get part of what the mayor was saying. One of the questions that was asked and that we just played. The Mayor Thomas was a council person with Marcus Griffin, and had somewhat of a relationship with him, and campaigned part of the time with you. Was it? And I asked him clearly: is it his position that y'all actually went in there to do something underhanded? And did he believe that did he actually believe those words? And his answer basically was yes, and he doesn't know what y'all did. Would you like to comment on what you just saw?
Yeah, I'm not gonna call anybody a liar, but I'm just gonna say he's not telling the truth. Now, basically, when he's saying that City Hall closes at 4:30, there's no reason that anybody should be there in City Hall after 4:30. He was a councilman. He comes in after 4:30. That's when we do our work session. That's when we have meetings sometimes. We're all part-time. So basically, City Hall for councilmen is supposed to be available, and we have keys, so we can go on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we're supposed to be, by the charter, able to look through any files, do all of these different things and research all we want, without any limitations. We were not up there looking for any files, and he knew this because he got off the phone with us. He was there with the guy on the phone, asked who was there, we spoke about it, and then he was like, you guys got to get out the building. All right? And then he called the police. That is exactly how it went. So you knew who it was. So why would you call the police and say that there was intruders in the building when you verified that it was us?
Now, I heard you in another interview. I'm not sure which one of the many interviews that I've seen lately, because it's been a media circus in Mount Vernon. Basically, in a Black Lives Matter situation, in a national situation where basically black men are getting killed by police, you stated you are a black man.
Yes,
and
yes.
and that could have gone
That
could have gone horribly wrong.
Of course, especially when I'm reaching for my ID to show, and you got an officer with his hand on his gun. It could have went anywhere. We could have been shot. Either one of us could have been shot. For this false report. This was nothing more than a prank call to the police by the mayor, because he knew we were there. Why would you verify that it's us, then call the police on us and say there's intruders that broke into City Hall? And I don't understand it. That's like me arresting you or coming up to you and accusing you of breaking into your car with your key. It doesn't make any sense. And the mayor, knew that he put our lives in danger on purpose, and he still haven't apologized for it, and he thinks that he's right, and that's what's sad about it. That's what's very, very sad about it.
So let's get to the bottom here. I've had this conversation going back a year or so when it was Councilman Thomas and Mayor Davis. As of right now, the people just see a tale of two cities, a divided city. Like there's no way, there's so much information out there. People, you could be telling the truth, he could be telling the truth, everybody could be just exaggerating. Like, people basically do not know. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are expressing frustration in this whole thing. So, talking about, well, y'all need to work together. What is it going to take for y'all to work together? I guess that's the question I'm asking.
Let me tell you something. I always want to work together. The council always wants to work together. See, the problem is this. You have the executive branch and you have the legislation branch. And when the executive branch feels that it's going to be the executive branch and the legislative branch together on its own, that's a problem. Because basically he's doing a lot of things without passing it through the council that he's supposed to pass through the council. And that's what's causing the friction between the council and the mayor's office. Now,
so, when you say the council and the mayor's office, people are seeing you and they're seeing the mayor. So the media is like Andre Wallace and Mayor Thomas are fighting,
Because it sounds like a better story, But the bottom line is the council is by, and let me make this clear. I chair over the mayor's office. I chair over the legal office. I chair over DPW. And I chair over charter revision. So these are the things I'm watching and dealing with all the time. So when you are doing things that are breaking the charter, I have to bring that to your attention, because I try to explain to people, the charter is like the Bible, okay? When you start to sway away from it, there's laws in the Bible, there's laws in our charter. It was drafted in a way that we should function and manner, in a manner to move our city forward. Nobody has been doing that. They just break the charter every day, like it's not even there. And as I start to, and I understand, because with the residency requirements and all of these things that I'm putting forward, everybody's saying, oh, it was done when Davis was doing it, nobody said nothing, and Clinton was doing it, and nobody said nothing. That's fine. I wasn't here then. I'm here now. Okay, and this is what I sit over and I cheer over. And just because, it was done wrong then doesn't make it right now. And that's my point I'm trying to show people. And it's not my own words. I listened to him say that the council is stuck in the past and they don't want to move forward. Okay, I'm moving forward. We're going to follow the rules and stop doing it the way it was done wrong, in the past. And you're contradicting yourselves. It doesn't make any sense.
I just want to add something, because I think part of the confusion that arises is that many of the citizens of Mount Vernon don't have any independent basis for forming a judgment as to who is right in a lot of these disputes. And I have taken the time to read the charter, and one of the things that I do want to point out with respect to the legal obligations of the city council members is that they are enjoined by the charter to follow the ordinances of the city, and failure to do so is in fact a criminal act and considered to be a misdemeanor crime.
Exactly.
And I want to read it to everyone, because in my judgment, Councilman Wallace is absolutely correct in this regard. They are legally obligated to follow the charter, and I'm going to read it to you. Article 5, Section 51, penalties. Any member of the city council who shall knowingly or unlawfully disregard any provision of law applicable to the members thereof, or who shall vote for any ordinance or measure in violation of law, or any appropriation unauthorized by law, or in excess of the amount authorized by law, or for any illegal or injurious disposition of corporate property, rights, or privileges, shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and liable to the punishment and penalty prescribed thereof. Therefore, and every member voting in favor thereof shall be individually liable to refund the amount to the city at the suit of any taxpayer. I mean, for one, let's be clear. The city's charter states that if you are guilty of a violation of the city ordinances, that is a misdemeanor, and you can be removed for that. Right. So essentially, if we want to implement change, the change that we have to implement going forward is that everyone is going to abide by the rules of the charter, despite whatever precedents may have been set in the past that essentially allowed the executive, the mayor, to act as if he is, the sovereign.
So I have a question, Andre.
And we want to keep it short because we're coming to the end of the show.
Yeah, all right. So explain to the community exactly what is the process, the procedure. For example, if the mayor wants to hire someone, what are the steps?
Well, the mayor can hire anyone he wants to hire. The only problem is this. You have to do it within the boundaries of the city council, not the city council, with the city charter. There are rules and regulations and laws in the city charter. So you have to follow those. For instance, what I'm following up on is the residence requirement. Okay, you have to, if you're going to hold an officer's job, you have to be from the city of Mount Vernon. And I know he's saying, oh, we can't find talented people here. There are plenty of talented people in Mount Vernon. You just have to look. We don't need to go and get a DPW commissioner that lives in Saddlebrook, New Jersey, an hour and something drive over past the Tappan Zee Bridge to come here. My point is this, and this is what I'm pushing for. I want the DPW commissioner to run over the same potholes I run over, trip on the same broken sidewalks I trip on and shop in the same stores I shop in. Because when you start to do that, you have an invested interest in this community. You're not just coming to the community for a check. This is why the charter is written like that. This is why the founding fathers did that. Because everybody has to have some kind of invested interest in here. So if you live here, you will take care of it. You know, that's the whole point.
With all due respect, you didn't answer the question, but my question was, so what are the steps? Because I'm also hearing that, you know, the mayor, you've said, and other council people, members have said in attending the meetings, that the mayor is not bringing stuff to us. So that's why I'm asking, regardless as to if it's hires, if it's whatever, what are the steps of the process? And the clerk says things are supposed to come to him, then it's supposed to go to the city council people, then you vote. What are those steps or process that's being missed?
Well,
what are the steps or process, and I guess in short?
Well, first of all, when you say the steps, when it comes to hiring, all the mayor has to do is say, I'm going to have this guy, I want this guy. He'll read him his oath, swear him in, then he would have to go to the clerk, and he's getting sworn in by the clerk. Then the paperwork goes over to Human Resources and over to basically the
Controller?
No, not the controller, the Civil Service Office, and it's all filed. It's that simple. But when there are different things of what he wants to do, certain agendas or something, he has to put together his vision. That's the mayor's job. He puts his vision together, then he sends it over to us, and then we legislate on it. If it's something that can be done within the charter, then there's nothing that has to be done. But if there's something outside of it, we may have to legislate. We may have to write a new piece of legislation for that. Like, for instance, I think his idea of combining the police commissioner and the fire commissioner was a great idea. But you can't just go on TV and tell everybody, this guy's the commissioner of both. Deputy mayor and all this stuff, and swear him in. No. Because there's nothing in the charter that says that there's a position for that. So what he needed to do was say, fellas, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to do X, Y, Z. How can I get it done? He would then ask us. We would go in. We'll legislate it. We'll say, okay, that's not in the charter. What we're going to have to do is write some legislation to allow him to do that. He can't just do what he wants to do. So that's how it's done.
The president, Marcus Griffin.
Did I answer that?
Yeah, the president, Marcus Griffith, also said the same thing in an interview, that the consolidation of offices was a great idea and would save the city some money. But because it's not in the charter, he would then have to come to the city council, and the city council would either have to approve it or do a revision or whatever so that he could do it. So you have the executive. So it's kind of like, correct me if I'm wrong, so you kind of have like the executive branch would kind of on a bigger level, Obama, right? And then you have the legislative branch, which on a bigger level, I guess, would be Congress or whatever.
Right.
So we've seen in this last year, our president has tried to put forth certain things, and Congress doesn't have no parts of it, so it doesn't exist.
That's why you have to learn to work together with the legislation. That is the key.
So, I mean,
instead of trying
is that
to
example?
fight them.
Is that example for people a good example?
Yeah, that's a good example. Okay. But let me just say this.
And we coming to last words. We got
let me just say
2
this.
minutes.
Okay, let me just say this. You can't only use the charter when you want to use the charter for what you want to use it for. You see, because when they were removing Tom Terry, they went to the charter and said we can remove him because of X, Y, Z. When you want to get something else done, you look at the charter and say we can do this because of X, Y, Z. But then when we say, okay, you can't do this, and we're going to use the charter to straighten this out, you can't make it I'm going to do just this part that I like and this part that I like, and then leave out all the other parts. So it's the same thing I said straight across the board. I'm not going to go out here and say this guy, just the building commissioner or the DPW commissioner is not in compliance. Everybody's not in compliance. So it's going straight across the board. We need to start. We've been doing things so wrong for so long that we think it's right. And now, this is another thing. I ran with Richard Thomas, the mayor, together on a ticket. And we discussed that we were going to do these things, that we were going to clean it up and straighten it out. And now that I'm doing that, it's like a big surprise to everybody. This is nothing different than I said on my campaign. The only difference is I'm doing what I said I'm going to do when I campaigned.
Well, we're coming to the end of the show, and obviously this is not something that can get solved in 30 minutes like a sitcom, television show. This is ongoing. And I've talked to the mayor and I've talked to Mr. Wallace about, because I was instrumental in both of their campaigns, about getting them together. As of right now, it doesn't seem like it's happening right now, but we will continue to do our part, and we will continue to bring you the news, and we will continue to tell you what's going on and try to get the information out there. You could be doing anything else right now, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. And until next week, peace.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials, because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner, because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run, or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet.